to the recently canceled podcast with Von Fry.
Hey, how goes it? So this is episode 3 of the recently canceled podcast with Von Fry, and, I'm not getting any feedback from you guys. So I guess it's going that well, huh? Well, alright, so today I'm going to be talking about the rest of Jessica Jones Season 2. So I watched the first 4 episodes, and then I wrote off the series, and then I had people, well, but you need to see the rest of it. Come on, can't judge a movie when you only watch a little bit of it. You gotta watch the whole movie. And I'm like, fine, I don't have much of a life. I guess I'll watch the rest of it. And I did. And I'm also going to talk about the UFC. So part 1 here, talking about Jessica Jones. Then for the patrons, those supporting me over on Patreon, you get to hear my hot take on the UFC. And boy, is that going to get me in some hot water. So it's a good thing nobody's paying for this and actually watching the full podcast. Because if you did, I'd just get lit up with all these haters. So I'd just be bombarded in the forums, and people would put the green light out up for me, I'd have people showing up, drive-bying my house. But they wouldn't get me because I live in the basement. So let's start out here. Jessica Jones Season 2, as I said already, is a social justice warrior feminist fantasy. It has gotten so incredibly extreme. I don't know where to even start. I suppose we can start with around episode 5 or so, when I jettisoned the series. Soon after, we learn that the powered, I think as they're calling them, they're not mutants, they're powered in the series. The powered individual tormenting Jessica or framing her for a murder and such is her mother. And that's a decent twist, but still no Purple Man. It's not even close to that. It's okay, you have the same abilities, and you're my mom, so yeah, kind of want you locked up, but I can't really kill you, right? What are you gonna do? It's the mom, right? So, we end up with a really lame, slow season. At every twist and turn, they do something cheap. Jessica Jones has tracked down this woman, okay, before she finds out it's her mom. And there's this aquarium that has this glass break, and you're like, okay, cool, we're going to finally see some action. Cut to black, okay, maybe next episode starts off with, no, Jessica Jones just kind of nonchalantly walks out with a half a dozen people who are at this aquarium. No one's in danger. No kid was drowning that Jessica had to save, and then that allowed the bad guys to get away. No, that didn't happen. Instead, it's just, oh, hey, I've got some water up to my knees, and my phone is damaged, which I think that's an iPhone 7. It's not going to be damaged from being slightly wet. You have to go scuba diving for it to really have an issue. Oh, but she had to go and get the rice, Look at me, I've got a few tricks over here, like burn notice. She goes and gets the rice, It takes the moisture away. Oh, yeah, look, we haven't seen that before. At some point, all these little MacGyver-type moves end up everywhere, and then it's like everybody has become MacGyver because we all have access to the internet in our pockets. Something to think about. Even when I left off and, we come back, it's like episode 5. Jessica Jones is on the phone. I think she's talking to, Trish. Use the phone at the cops, and there's this, I think, female cop who's got a stun baton, and Jessica Jones has kind of taunted her, you didn't get to use that on me, huh? She ends the phone call, and then we see Trish hanging up talking to somebody, and then we cut back to Jessica Jones giving her sassy remark to the cop, and that's called bad direction. It wasn't funny. It could have been cut. And there's so much bad direction in this. Trish goes on a hunt. She ends up with Simpson's inhaler. which she uses to get a high of superpowers. And she decides, hey, I need to go hunt men. So she walks into like a dangerous neighborhood. She gets on this bus, overhears but does not see this transaction go down. Well, transaction's putting it different, but there's a woman who's like, hey, you touched me. I didn't touch you, says the guy. We don't see it. It's so off camera, and so many times in this season, we have poor audio mixing because we need to have as many women work on this as possible. So we can barely even hear what happens in the background at times. Like sometimes there's key dialogue that is muted by the background. So Trish walks over there, throws white guy off the bus, then gives her little one-liner, "You're welcome." Was this needed? Like, is that overstepping? Are we supposed to take from this that Trish is turning bad in a way? Like, oh, well, are we... What I'm wondering is, was it the intention of those making this for us to feel that Trish overstepped? Or did they actually want us to be like, yeah, Trish is cool now? Because I'll tell you, Trish sucked so bad this season. I just wanted her character dead every time she showed up. She had so little to do, and what she did end up doing was so forced on her. It's just a pain in the dick. Let's look at the country club they have to go to. Trish and Jessica Jones wander into a country club where until this point, it's like we haven't found white guys this season. The one place white guys are in numbers is at a country club where, guess what? Women are not allowed. Is this really a thing right now? I don't think so. I could be mistaken, but I think they were finding factoids out of their ass to come up with this contrivance. So, it's Patsy. Trish tries to buy a membership, which gets denied, but she stalls for some time, and Jessica Jones goes and harasses this judge, who I swear is a little too skinny to have these droopy man boobs that he has. It's so bizarre. It's like they wanted to put that in there, like there's some kind of coding in there, like look at this effeminate guy in this way. Oh, he has a son. Who cares? Jessica Jones gets to go and kind of threaten him because it's cool to threaten guys. So weird. And you had these guys driving by in their carts, and they're like, "What is she doing here?" Muffled on her voice. "Oh, we're men, and we spend all of our time talking about how much we don't like women." Yeah. At one point, there's a taxi driver. This was a black guy. So they actually found a black guy to be a target in this. He's driving along, super demanding Jessica Jones and mom. And they're just, causing a pain in the back seat. And he's like, "Hey, don't get your panties in a wad, lady." And then it's like, "Oh yeah, grown women don't wear panties. Now we have this diatribe." Every freaking scene was some kind of example of guys are incompetent, guys are evil, guys are sexist. Hooray, women. It's like this season takes place on some kind of bizarro alternate dimension where every guy is awful. Okay, not every guy's awful, you say? Malcolm? What does he do? Not much. He does things that Jessica Jones could have done. He just kind of shows up and gets a little bit of praise for being this weird beta male. He has some girlfriend he obviously doesn't care about. She didn't do anything bad, but he'll just kind of leave her so that he can hit Trish, the white gal. And then this makes Trish better because, look, she's expanding her horizons. She's with the black guy, right? So much stupidity. At one point, Trish's mom actually gets taken to prison. And what kind of misadventures they have for her? There is a guard who, heaven forbid, makes the vegetarian eat meat. Oh, it's torture. That's like the worst thing in the world for a vegetarian. I'm a vegan, and if a guard made me eat meat, it would be the end. That's what they have for her to do. Oh, and because of this, he's like super aggressive with the you better eat your meat. You need your protein. Beats her a little bit, and then Jessica Jones has to go kill him. And they even have a little talk. Oh, yeah, you had a date last night. How'd it go? Oh, I hope you cleaned up. They're kind of talking in code over the phone. It's so damn stupid. Oh, but it's justified because Jessica Jones was able to find that he'd been killing a lot of inmates, probably various powered inmates. That's what he's been doing. He's been keeping these little trophies, so it's totally justified. Ah, Christ. You know, as far as the worthless males go, at least Kilgrave was competent enough. Now, granted, if we're going to say all men are evil in the series or close to it, whatever, at least Kilgrave was competently evil. He wasn't like beaten by incompetence. He didn't, oh, well, I'm such a shitty villain. Now, he had some pretty cool schemes. He makes a bit of a cameo. For one episode, he shows up to haunt Jessica. You know, she disposes of the body of that guard she had to kill. And he's like, Jessica, which I kind of missed hearing, you know. But he's behaving like the Joker does in Batman Arkham Knight. Kind of like Inner Mind. Why couldn't he have been like around for the whole season in at least that capacity? That would have kept some people interested. But, you know, nothing can really come of this. So, would it have really slowed down the season for him to be tormenting her in her mind? Probably not, because not a lot gets done otherwise. So it's not like he was stopping them from high adventure. I do want to praise one area, and that was Hogarth's storyline. Is it Hogarth or Hogarth? I think it's Hogarth. Oh, shit. Now you got me second-guessing myself. Carrie-Anne Moss. That's what we're going with. So, I didn't like how she introduces herself. I am a strong female lawyer in New York City. It is so hard for me. And then she goes on about how I started with nothing. I'm like, okay, save it. She gets this ALS diagnosis, right? Why ALS? Because it is a trendy syndrome. It's trendy, whatever. You know, we had the Ice Bucket Challenge. So you guys remember the Ice Bucket Challenge? Well, we wrote this when that was going on. So how about we do something about that? Yeah, let's do that. So she's kind of being taken to the back burner here. She's dealing with, am I getting some medication? Am I going to commit suicide? What is it going to be? She has to take in this homeless gal, Inez, that was a nurse at the facility where Jessica Jones and her mom were being treated after the car wreck. And this Inez says, hey, there was this guy, was it Carlo? Was that the doctor's name? Was it Carlo or Carlos? I think it was Carlo. I probably got all these goddamn names wrong. So she's like, look, there was another guy, an inmate, who had the power to heal people. You know, he healed me. I couldn't walk, but he healed me. So we should get you in touch with him. And she becomes his lawyer, gets him out of jail. And Inez is hooking up with Carrie-Anne Moss, and it's working out for them. And then Jessica comes across Carlo, who, by the way, is now the husband of Jessica's mom. Drinking some Coca-Cola there. And she's like, look, there wasn't... I talked to Carlo. There wasn't no healer there. This is some BS. You're being taken for a ride. As Carrie-Anne Moss finds out about this, heads home, and all of her stuff's been stolen. Inez and healer... Ah, shit, forgot the guy's name. They're gone, right? But it's not over just yet. I think it's interesting that we have people taking advantage of the public's knowledge that there are superpowers. So in a world where superpowers exist, you have people lying about it, saying they can heal people, give me money. That's a nice little nuanced touch that expands the world, I feel like. It was nice that this was brought up in some capacity. But Carrie Ann Moss ain't done with this shit. She goes around pawn shops looking for who may have taken her stuff. Where is it at? Sees some of it. Trades a watch that's worth who knows how much. Some of them Cartier watches command a stupid price. Trades that for some information and some of her items. And then she gets a gun from a black dude driving a Porsche 911. And he's like, yeah, I got something for you. I got some takeout food, whatever. Kind of hands it to her. And it's like, so you want payment? Nah, I'll just make this a trade. I may need your services later. And I'm thinking, how much later if she don't cure this ALS, right? Joke's on him. So, shit, I'm a terrible person. So, you're thinking Carrie Ann Moss is going to kill this bitch and her man that she got out of prison. She's getting some revenge here. She got tricked by her young lover here, her homeless concubine, but now she is going to go after them, right? Because what has she got to lose? She's got this ALS thing. She's playing like she got nothing to lose, right? She mentioned that just previous scene. Oh, no. She finds the apartment they're in, which, lucky enough, was practically ground level so she could look in the window from a car. Comes across Inez walking down the street while the dude is in the apartment. Brings her into the car, talks to her for a bit. Says she's not too angry about it, but that she dug up some files on this guy and he'd been playing her. Other people have been bringing her money. He's using you, all this stuff. Hey, look at this. I got a gun. Maybe you need to defend yourself against him before he hits you and stuff, right? So this sparks the murder of that dude, right? She walks in, has a little shouting match. Carrie Ann Moss kind of gets a little bored of it, but then boom, here's the gunfire, and it's satisfying, right? But she doesn't stop at that. No. Calls up the police. Yeah, I want to report a gunfire or homicide, whatever. Now you know that Inez is getting taken away. So Carrie Ann Moss actually had, I'm about to say Hogarth here, had the best story in the whole freaking season. And so few people are even going to pick up on that because it's like a C plot, which is a shame. You got this bullshit where, Christ, Jessica Jones and Mom are traveling the country in a stolen RV doing good deeds and shit. And then as the cops chase them like some kind of cheapened Thelma and Louise, they get on this Ferris wheel at this Playland place. And Trish shows up and takes like a circus shot and shoots the mom in the head. And she's all like, oh, hey, I did it because you couldn't. Oh, no, but it's kind of justified because your mom tried to take me out because I tried to expose some shit. Everybody wanted a whole plot about Trish being this great reporter. Oh, wait, we didn't. Christ. Oh, boy. Where does this leave for season 3? Well, Jessica and Trish have to patch things up. And it's also shown that this therapy Trish was getting from this doctor before he decided to light himself ablaze has seemed to given her some residual cat-like reflexes. Because Trish Walker is Hellcat, season 3. Oh, man. It's a sad state of affairs here. I've got a video coming out later where I'm talking about how I have zero interest in Avengers Infinity War. I think a lot of people are interested in that. Not my video. They're interested in seeing the damn movie. I don't understand why. If you want to tell me why you're looking forward to this, please go right ahead. We've seen these Avengers team up several times now to the same goddamn results. Are they going to kill off a whole bunch of them? Are they going to like bait us with this? Hey, guess what? We're killing off Captain America, so you better watch this one. This is the last time you're seeing Captain America. Maybe. You know that what they did was they rewrote everybody as some kind of gender ethnic flip in the comics. That way they could recast them. Oh, hey, now that Tony Stark's gone, we got this, what's her name, Riri? We got Rihanna playing Tony Stark Iron Man now, you know. Oh, well, it's not an SJW move because it's like that in the comics. You know, people who give me this, well, it's like that in the comics. Well, you realize that they changed this stuff in the comics so they could justify doing it in the movies. That's what happened. When you get your female Thor, well, it was like that in the comics. Yo, kiss my ass. So, yeah, if you are looking forward to Avengers, let me know why in the comment section or some shit.